for our and say, good morning, One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. So glad you're here. And this morning we're gonna have some music from some wonderful artists that I picked out for us since we're doing YouTube videos. I think you're gonna love this song. And let me maneuver my screen here. I'm just going to share the sound because this isn't a video that you can see. So here we go. And this is Faith Rivera, and this is one of my favorite songs. I know you've heard it. I know that at one time Colette used to.
Where I am, where I am, God is where I stand.
You hear it?
God is standing strong where I breathe. God is breathing life in and out and through me as me, where I sing. God is where I dance. Joy lifts my feet where I live. Beauty's flowing free in and out and through me as me. For where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly in and out and through me as me. Oh, oh, do do do. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go. Where I pray and take and give and live. God is, God is, God is, God
God is. What a beautiful song. And her voice, she just has the most incredible voice. Oh, so I want to just welcome everybody again and invite our practitioner of the day, Ralane, to start us out with our opening prayer.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone to October 1st, this beautiful morning. And let us just close our eyes and feel the presence of spirit, the power and the gentleness of the energies of God, the energies of spirit that's flowing in and through this beautiful October morning, through nature, through each and every one of us, through One Heart, One Mind community and beyond, with all those that are with us this morning and all those that are not able to come. We're all part of that flow, that connection, that oneness. And I just am so excited that we're all here together this morning in this sacred moment, this sacred time together where we can feel our love for one another. And so I know that today's service is absolutely perfect, as each and every one of you are perfect. And I just move forward knowing I'm so grateful. And I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is already so. And so it is. So after Rosh Hashanah, that began the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement that Reverend Michelle talked about, with all the inner work of forgiveness, introspection, and returning to ourselves, as soon as Yom Kippur is over, it is a time to rush to the joy, because Sukkot is coming. Now, some of you may not know about Sukkot, but it's a time to Jewish people hurry and build our outdoor shelter called a sukkah. A sukkah is a temporary flimsy shelter with 3 walls that is open in the front and to the sky. Building and decorating the sukkah is meant to be fun and creative as we connect with the fall season, the rhythms of the earth, with the changing weather, the trees and the wildlife and nature and spirit. Our sukkah has an empty chair for visitors to come by, and we have very good snacks and drinks to enjoy in our sukkah as we spend time there each day for a week. So I'd like you to invite you to close your eyes. And Jim and I would like to invite you all to visit our beautiful sukkah this morning. Before you leave, you might want to grab a sweater, as our mornings are wonderful, but there is a chill in the air with the fall weather, and you'll want to feel warm and cozy as we'll be outside. As I mentioned earlier, we have an extra chair for visitors, and you can all fit in our sukkah this morning. And you can invite anyone to come with you, family, friends, your cat or dog, a family or member or friend that you miss because they're geographically far away. They can come too. Or a person or an animal that has passed on, they can come visit too. The sukkah is a place of both worlds, here and beyond, all one with God. God is very present everywhere and noticeably in our sukkah. It is a wonderful place to commune with spirit. You can bring an instrument to play or sing, chant, pray, read, or just contemplate the beauty of the season, and or all the above. And did I mention that we have really good snacks and drinks? Oh, and you can meet our new dog, Lightning. She's a little shy, yet she's a sweetheart, and this is her first time celebrating Sukkot. And we have dog and cat treats as well. As you look around our sukkah, it is decorated with blue, yellow, and green flags, pumpkins, gourds, and you can look out to see our meadow that is brown at this time of year, and the nearby mountain that embraces our land. It is a very peaceful view. We have lots of wild turkeys, deer, crows, squirrels, and many birds that share our land, and they often pay a visit at Sukkot as we sit in our sukkah, because we bring snacks for the wildlife too. Sukkot, as we sit in our sukkah, we can just take a moment to hug each other and smile with one another. What a beautiful gathering of souls at such a joyful moment. Can you feel the joy, the connection, the love, the kindness that we have for each other? How wonderful is this time to be together in our sukha. And before we return to our Zoom world for today's service, let's remember to seize the opportunity to celebrate our life and our blessings in our lives. Let us be grateful for all the wonderful goodness and blessings in our day-to-day moments. Let's spend time in the sukha or a walk in the park, out in nature, to see and feel the beautifulness of the miracle of creation. Let's remember the bounty of the fall harvest and the bountiful blessings in our lives. Let us take this moment to recalibrate our lives, focusing on joy, kindness, blessings this morning, during this time of Sukkot, and in the year ahead. And so it is. Well, thank you for all visiting me and Jim in our sukkah this morning.
That was just delightful. I felt like I was there, Ralane. What a gift that was. And I had never heard of this particular Jewish holiday, so that was really, really eye-opening and delightful.
Yeah, it's not really like an official holiday. It's been created through Judaism to really express joy and how important it is. And so it doesn't really fit in the history of Judaism, but I find it to be one of the most fun holidays.
It feels joyous. Your guided meditation was certainly joyous.
Oh, and now we need our affirmation for the first week of October. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. I harvest its good through the power of my word, thought, and deed, and I live in the endless flow of divine good. And so it is.
So it is. Oh. And so I have this song that I found. It does have a little video with it, and I think it goes perfectly with the how usual, right? It goes perfectly with the guided meditation that you did of traveling to your place, and just what a joy. Hang on, I'm going to start it again. This one I can share the video with you, so let me get it there. Gonna maneuver my screen here. Share sound.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here spirit home. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Everything is holy now. I love that idea. And one of the reasons that I chose that was because, oh, my picture's blurry for some reason. The only reason I chose that song was because our perception of holding what we used to think, what we used to know, and where we are now can all be held together. It can all be held in the same container, if you will. And that's kind of what we're talking about this month. Actually, we're going to start out this week. We'll see where we go with it. But so I just want to welcome everybody again to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to October. And as always, you know, I want to let everybody know that I'm glad you're connecting with us, however you're doing that, in real time or in watching the replay. It doesn't matter. And as I was saying, we have a really interesting theme for October. It's called Playing with Paradox. And honestly, if I have to be completely honest, I have to admit that I've never really thought much about using paradox as a spiritual tool. You know, I know that in Zen Buddhism, they use koans as paradoxical anecdotes to kind of demonstrate that logic isn't the way to enlightenment. A koan that you probably heard is, what's the sound of one hand clapping? You know, it makes you think, but it really doesn't make any sense. There's no real answer and you can't logic it out, you know, and I'm discovering that we can use paradox as a path to embrace larger truths, seeming opposites that we may not be able to understand with just our logical thinking mind. And as I'm sure you probably know, a paradox is something that on its face seems completely contradictory, maybe even absurd, but in reality, it actually expresses a larger truth. And nowhere is paradox more alive and well than in our spiritual traditions and on our spiritual journey. And, as we embrace living a conscious life, and as we practice staying aware of our oneness with something larger and more all-encompassing, paradox can actually kind of open the door to our spiritual growth and our spiritual expansion, because a spiritual life is really rife with paradox. I mean, think about the things that we discuss in Science of Mind, that we're divinely human. How do we hold the tension between these two seemingly contradictory ideas? We teach the perfection of God, and we know that in our humanness, we're fallible. They seem like complete opposites, but they're not. They can be held together. Or how about when we say that to demonstrate Spirit's good in our lives, first we have to become what we want to experience? Well, that seems a little bit backwards and almost contradictory. Or how about surrender is the path to gaining everything, or that fear is actually our friend, or that every problem is actually an opportunity, or that our desire is our fulfillment, or that disease calls us to wholeness. I could go on and on and on. There's so many paradoxes, so many seeming contradictions. And when we're able to hold that tension between the two in our hearts and not necessarily our heads, then it can lead us towards spiritual growth and spiritual expansion, empowerment. And paradox really isn't something that we wrap our heads around. It's something that we wrap our hearts around. It's our heart that opens us to the wisdom of paradox. Paradox invites us to be curious, to ask questions, to be open, to step into something new, a new way of being, and something that we really never felt or experienced before. Our hearts open us up to seeming contradictions, but they allow us to see it from the view of the infinite, from the view of the expanse of God, Spirit, the all that is. An open heart kind of welcomes everything in, and it supports us in growing in an intuitive wisdom, the wisdom of the heart, a wisdom that the mind doesn't necessarily comprehend, because the heart sees from that larger and more expansive view, from a different perspective. And the heart has the ability to be inclusive, to hold everything, so that we can feel our way into the wisdom of paradox. It allows us to do that. When I was putting this together, it made me think of that beautiful poem from Rainer Maria Rilke. It's actually one of my favorites, always has been. But let me read it to you, because I think it's gorgeous. And it really does speak to this feeling of being able to hold everything. Rilke wrote, "Be patient toward all that is unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers which cannot be given you, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. I love this line. Live the questions now, and perhaps then gradually, without even noticing it, you will live your way into the answer." And paradox is rather like that. We bring it into our heart, we sit with it. It's that tension that is between those two opposites that expands us and moves us into a way of finding balance. And I think that's the way paradox work. We live our ways and our way into the answers through the experience of our heart. And I really think that's what the spiritual journey is all about. Experience. We talk about that a lot in our classes, that, we don't want to be these file cabinets of information, that we want to live the experience, to utilize our tools to bring us into the experience of spiritual truth. I think sometimes that it's funny, and I thought this as I was writing or putting together my talk, that we call it the spiritual journey, because it really isn't about going anywhere. Our spiritual journey is actually about just recognizing and becoming aware of who we already are and what's already within us. Our spiritual journey really is more of an awakening. And to embrace everything from our heart allows us to move into that awakening. In our Science of Mind tradition, Ernest Holmes, our founder, reminded us to remain open at the top. We say that all the time. And one of the ways that we can do this is by embracing and developing a paradox mindset. Paradox thinking can be kind of a natural part of our spiritual growth and expansion. Like I said before, in Science of Mind, we teach that the divine presence, God, spirit, life is perfect, even while we look around and we see all the suffering and injustice and struggle that's in the physical world. We teach that the infinite and the finite are one and the same, that there's only one mind, that the mind of God and our mind are one mind. Even though at the level of my human consciousness, I am not aware of everything that's in divine mind, but I know that I'm connected with it. The infinite and the finite are one. My consciousness cannot wrap itself around all the mysteries of universal order, but with a paradox mindset, the ability, let's see, how can we put this? The ability to hold two seemingly contradictory ideas at the same time is available to us. We open ourselves up to finding that balance between the tension of the two. So I had to ask myself, how does a paradox mindset support us in finding that balance? Generally, when we try to hold two things in our mind at one time, we can feel the contradictions, and two things coming from different directions. It can kind of feel stressful. But, I read this study that said that has shown that when we're able to embrace that tension between two seeming opposites and step into that paradox thinking, we actually become more creative, more flexible, more productive. And our path to spiritual expansion, whatever tradition we're practicing, certainly Science of Mind, is supported by this paradox mindset. I was trying to think of a real world example because, I like to make this stuff practical and useful. And I thought of the relationship that I have with my older sister. She's only 14 months older than me. So we kind of grew up basically as twins. We're the two oldest, and we were very close in age. We look a lot alike. I mean, people used to not be able to tell us apart when we were really little. But in every other way, we are absolutely opposites. We have very, very different personalities, and we look at the world from very different perspectives. And for much of our adult lives, this kind of caused a lot of tension between us. But recently, my sister's daughter, my niece, contacted all the siblings. There's 7 of us, as I've said before to you. And she asked us to write a letter to my older sister because it's her 70th birthday in October. And she wanted to make a little book and present it to my sister for her birthday. And so as I was writing my letter, I realized how much this tension of opposite personalities and opposite worldviews has actually supported us in developing a deeper and a more meaningful relationship, a more loving relationship. We've had to find a way to balance and to live in harmony with that tension of seeming opposites, of seemingly different world perspectives, and it's really helped. It's really helped us to find a kind of a balance. It's helped us to find that place of love. And I mentioned this in the meditation, but it really reminds me of that Rumi poem, that very famous Rumi poem that says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, I'll meet you there. And this seems like a perfect example of how it is our heart that is capable of holding paradox through the presence of love. My sister and I had to find that field. We had to travel through the path of heart. Our heart knows much more than our head. It's our hearts that we grow in understanding that we're truly one, regardless of any seeming opposites or opposition or difference or anything. It's here that we really profess our love and our oneness, here in our heart. And at the same time, we're still able to hold those beliefs and viewpoints that seem opposed. A paradox mindset allows us the freedom to kind of hold contradictions without the need to be right or to solve a problem. In fact, I think embracing the paradox, we feel that there's really no problem at all to solve. I hope that makes sense. But it was the best example that I could come up with to really give an example of how that can feed us, how that can support us in finding the greater view, really living in the paradox in an easy way. As I was kind of diving into the message for today, I ran across a term that I had never heard before. And I love it when I learn something new when I'm putting my Sunday message together. And it's this, it's a psychiatrist named Albert Rothenberg. Did I get that right? I got that right. He coined this term Janussean thinking. And it's to describe this paradox mindset. I'd never heard that term before. It's called Janus, after the Roman god of transitions and duality and time, beginnings and endings, gates and doorways. Janussean thinking is the practice of actively conceiving and using multiple or opposite antithetical thoughts to find several different solutions to one situation or challenge. The idea is that when we come up against a challenge or an obstacle or a problem, our instinct is to kind of push against it. But Janussean thinking suggests that rather than finding only one solution, we open ourselves up to multiple possibilities and ways of thinking. It's a call, really, I think, to shift from that limited perspective of the world and take ideas and perspectives and possibilities from infinite possibility. It's really accessing that greater view of the all that is. And by accessing that place where anything is possible and possibilities exist that we can't even imagine or have never experienced. And as I was reading this idea, I thought, this is the kind of thinking that is what's needed for us to truly open humanity up to really creating peace on earth, that more than one viewpoint can exist, that more than one group is in this whole, and that it makes peace on earth seem possible, which usually seems like a completely impossible task. But it seems possible. To embrace paradox thinking is to be inclusive and yet still be true to our own hearts. So we can balance that tension and find that space, but we have to do it through our heart. So let's take a look at a couple of ways that paradox thinking can actually serve us, that it expands us and supports us to step into our own personal growth and expansion and empowerment. Metaphysics is loaded with paradox. The first thing that came to mind for me is how by our very nature, we are consciously empowered to participate with creative law. And the dynamics of creative law kind of seem paradoxical. We impress creative law by what we think and feel. So to create something in form, we must first become in consciousness what we want to demonstrate in our lives. We demonstrate what we believe. So we must become what it is we want to experience in the physical world. Well, this certainly isn't the thinking of our predominant culture. Our predominant culture runs around Newtonian physics. which that's the collective cultural belief that matter changes matter. Thinking and feeling aren't what change matter according to common belief. The common thinking would say that if you want X, Y, and Z in your life, then you have to do something in the outside world to create X, Y, and Z, right? If I want to be happy, healthy, and fulfilled in my life, then I got to do something in the outside world to facilitate that. But metaphysics teaches us the exact opposite, that we must first feel energetically happy, healthy, and fulfilled before things in the outside world will reflect and support our feelings of happiness, health, and fulfillment. Metaphysics moves us out of that Newtonian thinking to quantum thinking, where the waves of potential in the invisible world are what create things in the physical world. Wave to particle thinking rather than particle to particle thinking. I hope that makes sense too. But this is contradictory to the prevailing thought in our collective race consciousness, as Ernest Holmes called it. I like to call it human race consciousness. So it creates this paradox, a seeming contradiction, when in reality it isn't at all. And another related paradox I think that we encounter is there's all kinds of interrelated things that come up as paradox, but another one of them is that the idea that the infinite and the finite are the same. One is the creator and the other is created. But we look around and we think of the infinite, this otherworldly, godly world, and then our physical world, and they don't look like they're connected at all, right? It seems like a contradiction to say that they're the same thing, but they are one and the same. If all there is God, then everything has to be God. And we're both. We're one with the divine life, and we're living a human life. We're one with the source of everything. And as we go within and we embrace our own divinity, we go into that space where everything exists in waves of potential. We express the infinite into our finite world. We create that energetic feeling of what it is we want to express in our lives. And then we hold it in our mind, in our humanness, and participate with creative law to bring it about. We are both infinite and finite. Everything we see in the world is both infinite and finite because energy is infinite, and that's what creates the finite world. We're so used to believing that it's the outside world that supplies us, that money comes from our job or some other worldly channel, that we're so used to believing that we feel love because someone else loves us, or that we're a friend because someone else has befriended us, or that we're healthy because of our genes or our diet or our exercise. We've been enculturated to believe that all our good is sourced from the world of matter, that matter creates matter. But when we embrace paradox thinking, we hold the tension of the spiritual truth that everything in the finite world is created from that infinite field of potential, or we also call it the mind of God. And then we can feel the truth in the statement that we and all of the world is both infinite and finite. So, and another very similar perspective, it's really just semantics. We're talking about that we are both divine and human. We're capable of holding the tension between these two seeming opposites, that we are divine and we are human. It's in our divinity, our oneness with the Creator, that we're empowered to participate with law, to express the good of God in our human lives. It's our divinity that empowers us to bring about change through our conscious thinking, feeling, and being. We move into that conscious connection with God. As we create what we would like to experience in consciousness, in our energy field, whatever we want to call that, the felt experience of what we want to experience in our lives, we're using our divine nature to shape and to create our human lives. We're both divine and human. If we want to create abundance and prosperity in our life, then then we have to experience abundance and prosperity within ourselves, that energy of it. What does that feel like? I love, Joe Dispenza always talks about, don't get up out of your meditation or your spiritual practice until you can feel that you are changed, that you are already that which you wish to see expressed in the world. You know, we know that if we want to experience health, then we have to feel radiant within, at the level of our vitality and wholeness. If we want to experience friendship and love, then we have to resonate with the energy of friendship and feel love for ourselves and for others. Our divine life informs our human life. And another paradox, here we are in a physical world having a physical experience. And we have to live here, which means that we also have to move our feet in the real world. Remember that funny joke about the guy who kept praying and praying that he wanted to win the lottery, and finally God's voice comes booming down from the heavens saying, buy a ticket already. You know, we still have to do what we're called to do in the physical realm. Pray and move your feet, we like to say. If we want to have a healthy body, we still got to eat healthy and get some exercise. And then we have to feel that aliveness and that vitality of God within us. If we want to be prosperous, we still have to participate in circulation and the flow of money. We still have to give and receive. If we want to have loving friendships, we still have to love ourselves and befriend others. We have to open up to where we're going to meet people and meet friends. We are both human and divine. We also have to move in the physical world. You know, we can't just live in what is it called? It's called up the mountain spirituality and down the mountain spirituality. There has to be a balance between the tension of both, between our divinity and our humanity. And what a gift it is that we've been given all the tools that we need to balance the two. So I think that embracing paradox through the pathway of our heart really supports us in living these gracious and love-filled, meaningful, purposeful lives. You know, it can open us up to what seems contradictory, and we can grab a hold of that tension of living in a dualistic physical world, and then we can use that tension in finding that balance for our own spiritual growth, our own spiritual expansion, and our own spiritual empowerment. When we open to multiple and contradictory ideas being true at the same time, we find possibilities and solutions that are within the infinite mind that we may never have thought of before. When we embrace paradox thinking, we find ways to embrace challenges in the world without feeling like we got to push against something. We got to have it our way. We can find ways to embrace all points of view without making somebody else wrong or without being against something. I love that Ernest Holmes phrase that we should be for something and against nothing. I am for peace, not against war. Embracing paradox opens us up to the wisdom of our heart. And that's the wisdom of love. And we know that love is always the answer. And it's always the true wisdom. And that's where we embrace seeming opposites and find that loving balance and live wonderful lives. So paradox thinking. It can be done. So let's move into some prayer. So I know that all there is God, life, spirit, the all that is. It encompasses everything. It is beyond the words that we can speak. It is the words that we speak. It is everything, and we are held in its loving embrace. And everyone on this call is a part of that allness. Everyone on the planet, in the universe, is a part of that allness. So I speak my loving and powerful and heartfelt word that each and every one of us experiences that shift energetically in consciousness, where we become what we want to experience and express in the world. We are the energy of love. We are the energy of wholeness and friendship and prosperity and vitality and compassion. And we're just whole. And we just sit in that as we move into that space where everything is held. And I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for our ability, our empowered ability to form and shape the physical world through our divinity, our oneness with God. Thank you, God, for this. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to experience life, to experience love, to connect, to be together, to feel love, to give love, to be love. Just relax in that knowing that all is well. It can be nothing else. And in that I relax, I release this prayer, and we say together, and so it is. So it is. Well, okay, there we are. And I think Lisa, I think you're doing the giving today. You're muted, so you unmute and I will put up.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Well, this is our time for giving, and I was just thinking it's another way of looking at it, as it's a paradox that although we think we are giving from ourselves, we're actually, whatever we have comes from source. And so we're simply recirculating it and sending it back to where it came from. So anyway, you know how to do it. There's the Venmo, and there's also on the screen how you may send a check.
Awesome sauce. Okay, let's see what could do. Here we go.
Okay, so everything flows from the nature of God's good. We receive from this flow, we give from this flow. We give in gratitude and in love. We have faith in the infinite giving nature of spirit, and so it is.
So it is. Beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. We'll come back to you in just a second. And Yvonne.
Hi, oh boy. Monday evening prayer group from 6 to 6:20. We'd love it if you join us for silent prayer. And we are specifically working on our center. So it would be really helpful to have some more people there. Tuesday evening is our spiritual learning circle, and from 6:30 to 7:30, we'll be discussing chapter 3, which is called Fear. It's Nothing to Be Afraid of. I love that.
That's funny.
Mary O'Malley's book, What's in the Way is the Way. It's really an interesting, different concept. I mean, kind of different. We're enjoying it. And then the one reminder, you all know what this is unexpected income. You're not going to have it if you don't expect it and look for it. And that's what's going on.
Thank you. I got some unexpected income. So I tithed to that. That was fun.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It totally is. It really is. Okay, Lisa, we're coming back to you for our benediction.
Okay, so let's take a nice deep breath and experience the gratitude and joy for having been together with a wonderful opportunity to touch with one another in our unity of love and spirit, and also to learn from Reverend Michelle, be reminded of the fact that looking at paradox is one way of healing wounds in our life, in the sense of being able to open the field, to open our heart and mind to the possible solutions to various issues and difficulties that we might be facing. And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity each week to be reminded of the way that we can grow, not only spiritually, but also as a human being, since we are in fact both. And so I release my word into the law with great thankings and blessings by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. That's beautiful, beautiful, Lisa. Cool. So I've got this song that I thought would be a good way to close out. It's Karen Drucker, and she's just saying thank you. So I thought, let's see, I think I just wanted to just share the sound. So let me fix that, because there's no video. So I'll just share the sound. And she's just going to say thank you to us. We're going to sing thank you with her.
Let it be easy. I'm gonna let it be easy.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna make the choice every day to trust my voice and let it be so easy. To run around, beat myself to the ground. I thought this was the way to be. I thought that true success was having so much stress, till I heard a voice calling to me, saying, let it be easy. Let it I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. Let it be easy. Now that I see the light, I won't work all day and night. I vow to take good care of me. I don't need to run a race. Well, I choose an ease and grace, enjoying the ride effortlessly. Gonna let it be easy every day now, easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. Let it be job done. Easy when I'm having fun. Easy every day. Easy, it's the only way. It's the only way. Be easy. Oh.
Yeah, that wasn't the gratitude song.
No, but the easy song. And it's backwards, but this is my easy button.
Well, I had the gratitude song all queued up and I thought, oh, I'll use
I
that
think
one.
he speaks. He speaks.
That was easy.
The gratitude song all queued up and I was going to use it. And then I ran across the easy one and I thought, oh no, that's the one we need to hear. So I'm going to stop our recording now.